So we're going to continue. So we're going to talk about attribute selector. So now to talk about attribute selector is a way of styling your elements using the attribute. So we have many attributes. We have the href attribute, we have the title attribute, we have the target attribute, we have many other attributes. So now up here I'm going to bring my style. So style. Then I'm going to call. So the first attribute selector that we have. Now let me go to our W3 school. So we have the first attribute. So it's just used to select element with a specified attribute. So styling element with a specified attribute, for example, in this situation you can just say any so I'm going to say every anchor tag that has what the target in it, style it. So any anchor tag that has target in it, so you don't need this curly braces. I want it to have a background color of aqua. So if you can see, we have 3 anchor tags displaying here, but among all of them, only 2 has the target attribute, so it's going to style that particular 2. So we can even get more specific. So we can even tell it to style anyone that has target and so we can tell them to style anyone that has a target and the value. So we have the attribute and the value selector. Where you are styling any, it's used to select any element with a specified attribute and value. So in this situation, we are now being more specific. We're saying style anyone that has what? The underscore top. So style only the one that has the underscore top. So you refresh, only one is being styled. Because only one has the underscore top there. So you are being more specific in this one. So now the next thing we have is, so you want to style every attribute. So we have attribute selector. So with this sign, so it is used to select element with an attribute value containing a specified word. So in this time around, you're not saying you should style anyone that contains a specified word. So now in this part, I'm going to remove this. So let me remove this. So now what I have now is I have 3 images. So I have 3 images. Now the first one, you can see that we have different attributes here. We have the src attribute, we have the alt attribute, the title attribute, and we have the height and we have the width attribute. You can see the value they have. So also we can also tell them, so I can come here and say every title attribute, so you can come in here and style the attribute is used to select any element with an attribute value containing a specified word. So you are now being more specific. So you are not saying what style every, in this situation say style every attribute that has what any title attribute that has, and you put the sign, then the so I'll say style the girl, so curly braces, so anyone that contains girl, any title attribute that contains girl, so style it. So here you can just going to give it a border of 3px and it needs to be dashed, so dashed red. So style anyone that contains girl. So if you look at here, we have 3 attributes. Only the ones that contain girl should be styled. So this is it. So it's styling only the ones that contain girl. You see the one, the flower is not styled. So only the tools that contain girl is being styled. Now the next one we have is, so just know that whenever you have this sign, it is used to style any attribute that contain a specified word. Any attribute that contain a specified word. So now the next thing we have is the attribute and the value selector with this sign. So with this / sign. So it's used to select element with a specified attribute starting with a specified value. So this one is talking about starting with. So now in this situation, I'm going to remove this. So let me bring this. So now look at what we have here. So we have elements. So they all have different. They have the class attributes and different value. So now this time around, we're not saying what style every element that contains a specified word, and this is the sign that we use to style it. So it's just the same thing here, but this time around, so you're going to say Greek class. So class, then your / so equals to, so style everyone that contains the word top. So starting with top, sorry. So style anyone that starts with the word top. So among all these words here, it will look for only the one that starts with top, and that top must be separated with hyphen. So must be separated with hyphen. So when you refresh, it will style only the. Okay, I've not put in the style here. So give it background color. So background color of. So when I refresh, this it. Only these two that has the top. But you can see that it does not. This one here has top, but it's not separate. So because this one here is part of the word, is not style. It has to style only the one that is starting with that top and is separated with what hyphen. So now, if you want to style only one that it begins with top, so we also have the next one which styles anyone that begins with top. So with this sign here, so it is used to style anyone that begins with top. Now in this situation, it will not care if it is separated with hyphen like the way this / does. So what it will do is that it will style anyone that begins with that top, regardless if it is separated with hyphen or alone. So here I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to use that sign. So this is it. So when I refresh, so let me comment on this existing one. So comment on this. So now I'm going to change this to a different color, blue. Just blue. So when I refresh, it will style only the ones that begins with top. So anyone, as long as top is beginning or that particular value that is here is beginning it, is going to style it. So it styles anyone that begins with that same value. So now we have the next one which styles anyone that ends with, which is known with the $sign. So if you want to style if it ends with, you can just use the $sign. So let me comment on this. So anyone that ends with top. Alright, there's no one that ends with top here. Let's check test. So I have test here. So anyone that ends with test. So test. So anyone that ends with test. So any class attribute that ends with test, style it. So when I refresh, it will style only the one that ends with the word test. So now we can also style with the style. This time around, if you don't want to be doing whether it ends with or begins with or starts with, so you can also say style anyone that contains a specified value. So now let me show you what I mean by that. So it is known with the star when you want to style universally. So universally, you're telling okay, I want you to style anyone that contains the word just TE, because I believe so anyone that contains the word T. So just T. So as long as that word contains T, style it. So to style all words that contain T, you can see the one that is left. So it does not care about whether the class, whether the T is in the middle or in the ending or in this whatever. So it will always style anyone that contains the word, that particular value. You can even change it to any value that you want. So you can say style anyone that contains TE. Let's do TE. So this is it. Anyone that contains TE. So we are trying to match this particular pattern. So with the style, we are saying contain anyone that style anyone that contains this attribute that has this attribute that contains the specified match. So that is it for your attribute selector. So see you in our next class.